Deductive reasoning. That is the phrase printed on 8 different New York civil service notices, and if you have gone looking for what it means, you have found reading lessons written for school exams. This is what it means on these ones. You are given a regulation and a situation, and asked what the regulation requires. The work is not interpretation. It is discipline. Regulations are read from the top down, and the clause that decides is the first one that fits, not the one that fits best. In the next few minutes, the technique step by step, and then the 4 ways people lose points on it. First, read the clauses in order and stop at the first that applies. Go down the list. The moment a clause's conditions are met by the facts, that clause decides the case and you stop reading. A later clause can look more specific, more detailed, more obviously about your situation, and be completely irrelevant because an earlier one already settled it. Second, check the absolute prohibitions first. Regulations of this kind usually open with the things that settle a case regardless of anything else: a hydrant, a bus stop, a blocked crosswalk. Those come first on the page for a reason. If one of them applies, no allowance further down can rescue the vehicle. Third, test every stated fact against every condition. The situation gives you a handful of facts precisely because the clauses turn on them: the time, the plate, the duration, whether the driver is present, whether loading is happening. Walk the facts against each clause deliberately. A fact that seems decorative is usually the one the answer turns on. Fourth, name the clause, not just the action. Before you commit, say to yourself which numbered clause is doing the work. If you cannot name it, you have guessed at an outcome rather than applied a rule. And the second question on these sets asks you for exactly that clause. Now the other half, and it is the half most people skip. These are the 4 ways this ability is actually lost. Not by not knowing, but by answering the question next to the one on the page. First, applying a later clause without noticing an earlier one already decided the case. Second, reading past a fact, the time, the plate type, that changes which clause applies. Third, picking the outcome that seems fair rather than the one the regulation requires. Fourth, assuming an exemption covers more than the clause actually says it covers. Every one of those is a habit, which means every one of them is fixable by drilling rather than by studying harder. And this is why it is worth the effort. Deductive reasoning is not one exam's quirk. 8. New York Civil Service exams tested. Traffic Enforcement Agent, 7331. School Safety Agent, 7323. Police Officer, 7313. Correction Officer, 6303. Police Communications, Technician, 6329. Special Officer, 6327. Environmental Police Officer, 6305. Special Officer, Health and Hospitals, 6328. Different jobs, different notices, different agencies. The same skill on all of them. Which means the practice you put in here is not spent on one application. It follows you to every other exam on that list. Reading about a technique is not the same as owning it, and this one only transfers under a clock. Free practice for deductive reasoning is at dutyrank.com/exams, with the reasoning shown on every answer. DutyRank is an independent study product and is not affiliated with any government agency.